Hello lovelies, welcome to 2020. I hope you all had an amazing and restful holiday season, that you ate, drank, and were very merry. If you're anything like me, maybe you overindulged a little, or maybe you're just looking for some new inspiration in the kitchen to get you into the new year. Whatever the case is, I am so glad you're here because I have so many amazing ideas coming for you. All month long, I'm going to be sharing quick, healthy, easy recipes that all happen to taste really amazing as well. And today's recipes are all actually low carb dinner options that are perfect if you're trying to get your eating back on the right track after the holidays. Now, you guys have been asking for a lot more low carb recipes on the channel lately, so as always, your wish is my command. Just before we get to that, I wanted to let you know that all month long, our low carb specialty meal plan is actually 25% off over on healthymealplans.com, our amazing meal planning site. If you haven't checked it out, I hope you will. Now, our low carb meal plan was actually dietitian developed to be nutritionally balanced and is loaded with great low carb ideas for breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. The best part is once you purchase any of our specialty meal plans, you can customize them to suit your own tastes. So for example, if instead of these amazing chicken meatballs, you want to swap in this delicious steak salad, it's just a matter of dragging and dropping it into place. What could be easier than that? All right, so without further ado, let's get to today's first low carb recipe. This is my amazing chicken shawarma recipe, and it is so super good. Dare I say it, it is even better than takeout. So it all starts, as most chicken shawarma recipes do, with an amazing marinade. The secret to getting great flavor in this recipe is marinating your chicken as long as you possibly can. So in my bowl, I am getting started with some olive oil, and to that I'm actually going to add a whole lot of garlic. Now, because I'm using this in my marinade, I'm not even gonna bother mincing my garlic. I've basically just taken the cloves, peeled them, smashed them. I'm going to get them into my bowl. For some nice, bright, fresh, citrusy flavor, I'm going to get the juice of 2 lemons into my bowl. Once you've got your lemon juice in the bowl, you can go ahead and start adding your spices. I've got a great combination of amazing flavors here. So I've got some paprika headed in here, some ground coriander, ground cumin. I've got some turmeric headed in here, some dried oregano, as well as a good sprinkle of cinnamon. Now, I will just be honest, in savory recipes, I'm actually not a huge fan of adding cinnamon, but classic shawarma definitely calls for it, so you don't want to skip this step. Finally, I'll add a good helping of salt and pepper to this, and then it's just a matter of whisking it up and getting it on top of our chicken. Now, for this recipe, to make it extra delicious, we are using boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I have recently discovered how amazing boneless, skinless chicken thighs are in terms of their tenderness and their flavor, and now I use them in almost all of my cooking. Plus, they're a little more affordable, so what's not to like? And I'm just going to pour over my marinade. You wanna make sure you give them a bit of a zhuzh so that they're covered in that marinade completely. Then I'm going to pop a lid on this and get it into the refrigerator for at least an hour. But let's be honest, when it comes to a marinade like this, the longer it sits, the better. So if you can afford to do this overnight, I definitely recommend you do. If you wanted to prep this during your Sunday meal prep, you could definitely do that and then just cook these up on Monday night. That would be the best results. While my shawarma is marinating, I'm gonna start on a nice, cool but flavorful sauce for it. The thing about shawarma is that it's so richly seasoned that it's really well balanced if you have something a little cooler and fresher to pair it with. So to do that, I am starting with some plain Greek yogurt. You could use traditional yogurt here, but if you want that thickness, Greek yogurt is of course the best bet. To that, I'm adding the juice of half a lemon and 1 garlic clove that I'm just going to grate into my sauce. Then it's just a matter of seasoning it with some salt and some pepper, giving it a whisk, and it is ready to be drizzled all over that incredible shawarma. And now, friends, the moment has come to get this in the pan. So you can bake these off in the oven if you want to, but I actually like to fry them up twice. Getting the double fry happening here is going to help give nice crispy edges and even more great flavor. So I've got a nice cast iron skillet heating up here. I'm gonna get some oil into it. I'm using vegetable oil, just something really, really simple. And then as soon as my oil is nice and hot, I am going to get my very well marinated shawarma into this pan. I'll often use this moment to season it up with a little more salt, just to get even more great flavor happening. And all I'm going to do is cook my chicken, flipping it once or twice until it's reached an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That means it's fully cooked. Now at this point, our chicken is ready to eat. But if you want to maximize the crispy bits around the edges, I recommend taking these out of the skillet, giving them a quick chop, and then getting them back into the skillet for another, say, 2 to 3 minutes. You're basically just going to get more crispy bits per square bite, which is always a good thing. Trust me on this. I love serving this up with a nice fresh side salad, a little bit of hummus, maybe some olives, but you could totally put this in a pita or on some rice if you wanted to. Lots of amazing options. I always recommend making a double or triple batch because this stuff is incredible for lunch the next day. Next, if you're looking to get a little more fish in your diet, and come on, we all should be getting a little more fish in our diets, let's be honest. This amazing blackened salmon with cucumber avocado salsa is really, really easy to make. Now, if you're not familiar with the concept of blackened salmon, it is a really super flavorful spice blend that is packed onto your salmon and then either fried up in a pan or cooked in the oven until it turns sort of black and charred on the top. It gets nice and crispy and it's wildly flavorful, which I love. It all starts, of course, with that amazing seasoning blend. I have got some paprika here headed into my bowl. I'm gonna use some dried oregano as well. There's some garlic powder and some onion powder headed in here. A little bit of cayenne. You can use a little or a lot, depending on how much spice you like. It is Cajun cooking. Cayenne had to be in there. And then a little bit of salt and pepper. Whisk that up, and what we're going to do is basically pack this on top of our amazing side of salmon. I'm gonna start just by drizzling it up with a little bit of oil. It's important to use a more flavorless, mild oil in your cooking, things like avocado, vegetable, canola, something without a ton of flavor. Something like olive oil is a bit too strong for a recipe like this because really all we want is to taste this amazing seasoning. Once I've got that nice spice blend packed onto my salmon, I'm going to transfer it to a baking sheet and get it into the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for between, say, 16 and 18 minutes. And this stuff is amazing all on its own. But if you want to complement all of those sort of warm, spicy flavors with something a little cooler and more refreshing, I definitely recommend trying this cucumber avocado salsa. It also could not be simpler to prepare. I'm starting with 2 large avocados. I'm just going to get those chopped up and in my bowl. To that, I'm adding some cucumbers that have been finely chopped. I've got some really finely diced red onion headed in here, as well as some freshly chopped cilantro. Then I'm going to get the zest and juice of 1 lime on top of that. And you can see how all this bright, citrusy, tangy flavor is the perfect complement to that seriously spiced salmon. What is not to love about this main dish? Now you could always serve this blackened salmon up with a side of rice or cauliflower rice if you wanted to keep things on the low carb side, or you can flake it up and place it over a salad. It makes a really perfect lunch. Finally, my loves, we are amping up the flavor factor even more today with this unbelievable slow cooker Salsa Verde chicken. Now, you guys know I don't generally use the slow cooker a lot on the channel, but this recipe totally deserves the slow cooking treatment and you will not regret it. Now, as the name suggests, this recipe all starts with some salsa verde, which is a combination of roasted tomatillos, some onion, garlic, jalapeno, tons of great flavors turned into an amazing salsa. You have 2 options. You can either buy it at the supermarket pre-made. There's lots of great brands out there, or you can make it yourself. If you want to give it a try, I highly recommend the homemade kind. It's delicious. I actually have a recipe for it on the channel, of course. I will link it in the description box below. To my salsa verde, I want to add even more great flavor because this is going to have a lot of time to get delicious. So I'm going to be adding some thinly sliced white onion to this, as well as some sliced jalapeno. Now, if you're not a fan of the heat, leave out the additional jalapenos, but you guys know how much I love it. Plus, all of that time in the slow cooker, your jalapeno flavor will mellow out quite a bit. Same story with your garlic. I'm going for it with 4 cloves here. It might seem like a lot, but again, all of that time allows that garlic to get really, really beautiful and a little less potent. I'll add a little ground cumin to this and then give it a good stir so it's nicely mixed. Then it's time to get our chicken into the slow cooker. Once again, you could do this with boneless, skinless chicken breasts if you wanted to, but if you want excellent flavor and the best texture, definitely go for boneless, skinless chicken thighs instead. Into the slow cooker they go. We're gonna hit them with some salt and some pepper, pop a lid on, and then you can let this cook up on high for between 3 and 4 hours or on low for between 6 and 8 hours. Obviously, the longer this sits in that deliciousness, the more flavorful it's going to become. Once these are finished cooking, I like to shred them up, kind of like pulled pork almost. You could leave them whole, but the shredded version is super good. when added to things like tacos or tostadas. You can add them to burrito bowls. Super, super yummy. Once you've got it all shredded up, you can get it right back into that sauciness and give it a good mix. I like adding a nice squeeze of fresh lime juice to brighten everything up again. I actually like serving it up over a little bed of rice with some fresh avocado and some tangy sour cream. And guys, you have got a dinner of champions. I have to tell you, this was a huge crowd pleaser. My husband Greg ate basically the entire thing. I hope you will give all 3 of today's delicious low-carb recipes a try. If you do, be sure to tweet me, Instagram me, or Facebook me a photo, because you guys know how much I love seeing your kitchen creations. Don't forget, our low-carb specialty meal plan is 25% off all month long over on healthymealplans.com. You can also find these delicious recipes on the site. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.